Hello everyone, and welcome to my Days of Our Lives official. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. When Mark paid Clyde a visit in jail, she informed him that Abigail and Chad had left for Paris and that she would soon finalize the arrangement. Mark stated that his sister would involve the children if her memory was purportedly restored in Salem. Abigail was attempting to keep the kids from experiencing trauma. Clyde claimed to have done his homework and to be aware of Mark's sister's sins. Mark mentioned that Mrs. DiMera would soon be his sister. Clyde acknowledged that was no longer effective for him. DiMera's widow. That sounds better, Clyde remarked. Mark expressed his belief that Clyde's main goal was to empty bank accounts. That looked too disorganized to Clyde. An inheritance, in his opinion, would be simpler to accept all at once. When Clyde said that Mark will soon be free, Mark was taken aback. Clyde clarified that there had been no murder conviction because Abigail was ostensibly still alive. Regarding the drug ring and other matters, Clyde's attorney reassured him that he discovered procedural violations that would result in the case being dismissed entirely. Admire B&B, Days, General Hospital, or other soap operas. Participate in the discussion on our SC boards. To interact with fans and start a conversation right now, click this link. Soon, Clyde promised, he would be free. Mark questioned Side's motivation for taking the chance of killing Chad. Is Clyde going to send a hitman? Mark inquired. Mark was the hitman, Clyde claimed. No matter what, you have blood on your hands. Clyde declared either your mama dies or Chad does. Chad showed Abigail their French house in Paris. He related to her how she had purchased a painted trowel at a street festival after she saw it. Abby claimed she was glad to be there even though she couldn't recall her artistic background. Chad bought them a bottle of wine to commemorate their reunion in Paris. Telling his supposed wife that they would take the kids to the park every Sunday, Chad recapped their experiences in Paris. According to Chad, she forced him to construct a music video at the park, which had an artificial waterfall and grotto. Abigail claimed she could envision him filming the music video and that she remembered the song. They laughed and exchanged recollections. Abigail observed that they appeared to be content there. When Chad worked too much and they drifted apart, he talked to Abigail about the more difficult periods. At that point, Austin Reed appeared. He wanted more from Abigail because he was having marital issues with Carrie Brady, but she put an end to it. Together, they overcame a lot of challenges, so Chad stated he was confident they could overcome this one. Abigail abruptly asserted that she was recalling details. She claimed that it was more like sensations than memories. She recalled how the light came in through the window and the pitter-patter of the children's feet on the floor. She remarked, "I feel like myself for the first time." She insisted she recalled more, but Chad gave her an enthusiastic hug. "You come to mind." Abby lied, saying, "I remember how much I love you." Chad gave Abigail a kiss and a hug. Chad expressed his happiness to her that she was able to recall how much they valued each other. Chad began undressing as things got hot. He was stopped by Abigail. "Hold on," she uttered, "I can't do this." After everything Chad had been through, Abigail recalled telling Mark how much she hated to harm him, but she knew there was nothing else she could do. Turning to face Chad, Abigail informed him she didn't believe getting close just yet was a good idea. "I believe we ought to take action initially. What if we tied the knot?" Asking Abigail. When Maggie went to see Julie, she inquired about Julie's experience meeting Abigail. Julie said Abigail didn't resemble the Abby they were familiar with. Julie noticed that Abigail was quite chilly and had odd eyes. Julie heard Maggie say that Chad hoped Abigail would recall more of her time in Paris. Maggie gave Julie an update on Sarah's health. Maggie was the ideal person to help Sarah, according to Julie, because Maggie was disabled. Maggie mentioned that she had surgery and that she didn't anticipate Sarah performing such a miracle. Julie expressed her dislike for Xander. Maggie declared him to be Sarah's true love, but she also acknowledged that Xander had become fixated on exacting revenge on Brady. Maggie pointed out that now that Brady was in the legal system, Xander might have forgiven it. Julie stated it was fortunate that Sarah realized Brady was the driver as soon as he was released from the hook. Maggie inquired as to Julie's opinion on Sarah's lying. If it were Julie, she said she would stop at nothing to force Brady to pay. Maggie and Julie concurred that Brady was a decent man with a disease who made a horrible choice. Maggie claimed that Xander and Sarah could go on and recover after Brady was sent behind bars. Maggie and Julie talked about how Sarah regained her memories and how they hoped Abigail would too. Maggie added that when Abigail came back, she vowed to tell the children that their mother was still alive. According to Julie, there seemed to be a lot riding on the Paris trip. Julie was furious that Clyde was the cause of all the family's suffering. She mentioned that Clyde was in Supermax and would never be able to harm another family member. Sarah admitted to EJ that she couldn't place Brady as the driver. EJ claimed that she had previously done so, and that they were able to arrest Brady as a result of her eyewitness report. Sarah emphasized that she was wrong and that EJ had to let Brady go right away. Why was Sarah now altering her tale, EJ wondered. No way could Sarah lie, she said. EJ remarked that Sarah was lying now, or that she had lied when she claimed Brady was driving. Xander maintained that Sarah was the most truthful person he had ever met. Except when it comes to the paternity of her children, remarked EJ. Sarah admitted to EJ that she wasn't proud of the dishonesty she had displayed in the past. Which is why I can't stand by my previous statement, Sarah said. For something Sarah was no longer convinced Brady done, she knew she couldn't let him win. EJ was indifferent. EJ informed Sarah that the mayor would be certain Brady would be found guilty based on her sworn declaration. EJ promised that if Sarah changed her mind, he wouldn't have egg on his face. Is EJ's ego so weak that he would convict an innocent guy to protect it? Xander questioned. Let go of it, Xander. Brady is guilty, as we all know, and I swear to you that if Sarah backtracks on her confession, I'll have her arrested and prosecuted with perjury, EJ said. Sarah pleaded with EJ to let Brady go, admitting she had made a mistake. Brady, according to EJ, would serve 10 years if found guilty. EJ informed them that Sarah would succeed Brady if he did not serve that amount of time in prison. Xander felt bad that he hadn't knocked EJ unconscious when he left. Xander questioned whether Kristen would really give the serum to her brother given that she was aware of what a stubborn bastard he was. After promising to take care of it, Xander went in search of Kristen. Eric saw Fiona at small bar. He remembered overhearing Fiona and Sarah discussing secrecy in the park. Fiona was introduced to by Eric, who informed her that he had discovered Brady and she were romantically linked. Eric claimed he was attempting to fill in the details even though he knew Fiona was with Brady on the night of Sarah's hit and run. After spending the majority of that day with Xander and Sarah, Fiona informed Eric. Brady had texted Fiona, inviting her to meet him at the pub. Although Fiona acknowledged that she and Brady had been dating for some time, she had intended to break up with him that evening. Fiona claimed that Brady and the waiter were fighting when she arrived at the bar, and she had assisted in defusing the situation. Fiona claimed that as Brady continued to drink, he drove off and struck Sarah. Fiona seemed to be implying that Brady had gone out on his own, but Eric was informed by the waiter that Fiona and Brady had left together. Brady had first gone alone, Fiona said, but she had followed him and offered to get a cab. Fiona said that she would have taken all reasonable steps to stop Brady if she had known what was going to happen. She said to Eric that she went to her hotel by taxi. Xander called her later to inform her about Sarah. Eric inquired as to Fiona's alcohol consumption that evening. Fiona made up the story that she didn't drink and was in recovery from alcoholism. Fiona declared she was done thinking about that awful night. Eric departed after thanking her for her time. When she was by herself, Fiona hoped Eric had accepted her account. She chose to ignore it and sipped on a cocktail. Eric went to see Sarah in the interim. Please be honest with me, I have a question for you. Is Brady not guilty? For your mother-in-law, are you filling in? Eric queried.